The rewrite in the Sonic Generations remaster is dumb and I hate it. Yeah, I said it from the start this time. Woo! Alright, time to debate about something that Sonic Team made matter first. When I first heard through leaks and rumors that the remaster of Sonic Generations was intended to get a rewrite, I was excited. The idea had promise. Maybe the time meter could be explored more lore-wise. Maybe we could explore the significance of time and why it's worth preserving. Or maybe I was giving the folks over at Sonic Team too much credit. Because we got none of that. You've probably already heard it from somebody else by now, but the story as it is in the Generations remaster is less of a rewrite and more of a redubbing, with nearly every and all changes made to it for the worst. Yeah, I said it. I have quite a few problems with the Sonic Generations rewrite, some mild, some small, but none big. After all, this is Generations we're talking about. The story was never a highlight, and it was foolish to think that this re-release would change that. It didn't change that. Most of the story dialogue was rewritten to better fit the post-Frontiers tone they seem to be pushing the series in. Stories. What was I going to say there? Why is this an issue? Well, there's a number of superfluous line changes that simply do not need to be there. Ones that, like, somewhat portray the characters as a bit more serious, but most of the time they're just kind of, like, using words that mean, like, functionally the same thing. Like, they're just using synonyms for words that were already in the original script. And just kind of like slightly tweaking them. Like, you'll get what I mean. I will like edit in some examples in post, but I struggle to think of any direct ones right now. But I'll add them in post. You'll know when you see it if you haven't already seen it already.
No stranger than rescuing genies in magic books or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park. I'm more concerned about finding our friends.
And no stranger than fighting evil genies or saving aliens in an interstellar amusement park. Right now, we should focus on finding our friends.
Another issue is that nearly every single line is delivered worse. So even with the lines that they did leave completely unchanged, the ones that they didn't rewrite, which is another weird thing, how they would like rewrite some lines and then like not others, when a lot of the lines that they rewrote didn't need to be rewritten. So if you were going to leave some lines intact anyway, why not just whatever? Anyway, nearly every line is delivered worse. Like, nearly all of them. The voice performance, the voice acting in general in the Generations remaster, I think is just overall worse than how it was in the original. And I've seen some people agree with this, but I feel like when a lot of people do bring this up, or at least from the people I've seen bring it up anyway, they seem to be like claiming it's a fault of direction and stuff like that. I don't think that's all that there is to it. I think there's a bit more. Well, I do think the direction did contribute to it, no doubt, because again, we're going into with the whole Frontiers direction, whatever. Whoever they got to direct Frontiers, they probably got them to do this as well. So you kind of just get that feeling. But also, the voice actors are, over a decade older than how they were back when Generations first came out and back when they first recorded those lines. So them coming back a decade later and re-recording those lines, of course, they're not going to sound the same. They're not going to hit right. Their voices, I don't think, are capable of really doing all the same stuff that they probably were 10 years ago, because that's how aging works. I don't care if they're fully grown adults, your voice can still kind of wane and wither over time, and I got a feeling that's what's happening, because what the absolute hell is going on with Cream? And why is Sonic sounding so bad? And why is there no longer much of a voice difference between the two Eggmans? And Tails, for that matter. Even though, actually, no, Tails is a completely different voice actor. I guess I'll let that slip. But Eggman, again, what's Eggman's excuse? I don't get it. Anyway, third issue when it comes to the redub is that the animations were not changed to fit the new dialogue. I'm sure you've seen some egregious examples of this, stuff that's been memes to the moon and back already. But yeah, the animations were not changed to fit the new dialogue, which is clearly something that was not beyond the scope of this project, because there were some things that were reanimated. I'll get to those later. Now is not the time, but I will get to those. But the animation changes that should be here, the ones that, actually, like, would have made more sense in the context of the lines being said, they just didn't care. They just didn't care. Sonic 8 Angel Island? Sonic 8 Angel Island, that's what we're going with? Okay. Now, hold on. Before you start screaming, it's an anniversary game at me, my problem isn't with the fact that references are present at all. Well, it kind of is, but Just let me explain! In Sonic Frontiers, we were given fistfuls of references, many of which were done at inopportune times when they weren't relevant to the story. While annoying at points, I was more tolerant of it at the time because it was a breath of fresh air to see the series finally paying respects to its legacy after years of not taking itself seriously. It was an overcorrection, sure, but it was nice to see the effort being made. What I wasn't thinking was that it was setting a precedence for what was to come going forward.
Without the time stones?
Yes, without the time stones. Those were never even used to time travel in CD, you twit! My issue isn't that there are references. It's that just like with Frontiers, they feel forced again. It's annoying and I don't like it. Don't you give me that look. You knew this was going to happen. Top 10 reasons the way Amy is written now is just not it. Nah, I kid. But do you know how disrespectful it is that they're going out of their way to rewrite how she was? And I mean in multiple ways. This is a two-way street, okay? One, the way Amy is written now is a fundamental misunderstanding of her character made to appeal to people who never liked her to begin with. Two, the character, using that term loosely, that she now is blander than a glass of 2-day-old room temperature water. Not worth the changes made if you ask me. And three, they made such an effort to retroactively rewrite Amy that most of the notable animation changes went to said effort. That animation budget could have went to something like, a bit more pressing. Like the insinuation that classic Sonic 8, Angel Island, but no. I guess the Amy Eradication Squad had their priorities elsewhere. We gotta make sure that Amy doesn't have any semblance of her personality. No, can't have that. No. We have to make sure that Amy can't have a personality ever. Not even in the current moment, but we have to go back and erase what personality she did have in the past as well. Now, I know she hits on classic Sonic, but not only is that a little bit weird. Okay, well, technically not. I guess classic Sonic is the same age as modern Sonic, which is his own bag of weird, but yeah, you know what? Forget it. Doesn't matter. I know that she does flirt with classic Sonic a little bit. It's still there. That's neat. That's nice. That's cool. Okay, so what's making me mad? Let me slow down and break it down for you guys start screaming at me, because I know a lot of people don't take issue with Amy's character and how it's being handled. I don't take issue with the fact that they're trying to quote unquote fix Amy. I'm mad that this is the quote unquote fix that they landed on, erasing any semblance of character that she once had, not replacing it with really anything much else, and having her relearn things she already learned in the past. And not only that, but Frontiers wants to put up this facade that Amy actually grew or learned something from the events of that game. But isn't it a direct slap in the face to that game if we're going to go back and retroactively act like she was already acting this way before the events of Frontiers even took place? It just goes to reinforce the idea that whatever character arc, I hope you heard the air quotes there, that she did have in Frontiers really wasn't one at all. There wasn't any character growth. What in the world did she grow from? There was nothing in-universe, no in-universe canon events that actually prompted this change. All the reasons that prompted Amy to change are all external. It's all outside the series itself. It's all because you're trying to appeal to people who never liked her the way that she was. Like, we're okay with a series that has a fascist evil scientist stuffing animals into robots and turning them into mindless slaves, but that type of cartoonish shit we're fine with, but not the joking-hearted joke, the running gag of Amy being like a super fan of Sonic and Sonic enjoying the chase and the two having fun. That's where we draw the line. That's where we draw the line. But Eggman blowing up the moon is fine, right? I don't understand. The series is cartoonish. It's meant to not be taken literally at every turn. I genuinely do not understand how people can look at the dynamic between Sonic and Amy and go like, yeah, that's toxic, that's bad, that should not be depicted in any sort of way in cartoon media, even though it's clearly played for laughs. I do not understand you people. But anyway, I'm seemingly sounding like I'm way more mad than I actually am. I'm not. I'm kind of being a bit performative. I am upset. It is frustrating, but it's really not like worth yelling about. So yeah, those are my problems with Amy. Of course, none of these changes are deal breakers, despite what the topics featured on this channel may suggest. I have enough of a life to not go on record saying things like, "The Sonic series has gone woke! Arg!" Nobody plays Gens for the story, and none of the changes made to it in the remaster make it a bad or unplayable game by any means. At the end of the day, it's all pretty much negligible, but clearly it was important enough to the folks over at Sonic Team to make the effort of these changes in the first place, especially in regards to Amy, it seems. Therefore, it's important enough for me to bitch about them. And that's what I did, yeah! So I pretty much got all that off my chest. Felt pretty good. So now's the chance for you guys to indulge me, have talk in this conversation with me. The conversation only gets started, as I typically say. The video is only the start of the conversation, and the comment section is where stuff gets really started. So tell me how you feel about the Sonic Generations rewrite. Does it matter to you? Does it not? Of course, I highly doubt it's going to be like a deal breaker for anyone. Like I said, nobody plays Gens for the story. It's really not that big of a deal at the end of the day. But if it matters enough for these changes to be made in the first place, then I think it's worth critiquing. I think it's worth looking into. I think it's worth asking why. I think it's worth questioning. You know, it's always worth looking into these things. Clearly, it mattered enough. Clearly, it mattered enough to them to make it a priority to some extent. Okay, so I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it. You guys want to talk about it with me? Please. Anyway, yeah, that's it for the video. Dog, I don't know how to edit videos anymore.